Why hello once more, all my friends on the interwebs who love miniatures. I'm Dakian. Today is Monday the 31st of July, 2023, and I'm here to ramble. And I have rambled on enough to complete these 10 minis. In the back we have the, well, I like to call them the Kuotoa. Reaper Miniatures calls them gogglers. Fish people. And in the front we have some hassle-free minis. We have these two versions of the same dude in slightly different clothing. I tried to paint one pair of jeans slightly darker than the others and the other pair more faded. I don't know if it came out visible. And I don't know about the coat. I can't seem to get rid of the glossiness on the back of the coat. I put lots of matte varnish on it, but the gloss still shines through. Huh. Odd, but maybe it's shiny leather. We'll say that. And then we have these two guys, Dirk the Daring and Princess Daphne. Now, the princess was a challenge because if you've seen the game Dragon's Lair, you know that what she's wearing is essentially like a black bathing suit and then a, I don't know, dress, negligee, shift, shawl, some sort of cloth covering over it, which is almost completely transparent, just slightly, you know, translucent, and has sparkles in it. You can't paint that. That's impossible to replicate in miniature form. So I just painted the other parts of the dress as kind of a very shiny light blue white. I added a sort of metallic medium to it, and I hope that is an interesting look. But you know, that was how they came out, and 10 minis is a reasonable haul for 1 week. I am completely satisfied with that. So let's move on to works in progress. So here's the collection of stuff in the works right now. I think slightly fewer amount of models than last week, but probably not by much. Quite a lot of stuff here. Some of them quite far along. They might not look it, but this guy, for example, is, I would say, almost 75% done. But and the ones in the back here are, of course, in much earlier stages. They have been primed and given some undershading, and that's about it. And what can I say about these? Oh yes, I had problems with the one barrel that broke off of this gun, and eventually just gluing it on didn't work, so I drilled into the gun and I inserted a piece of brass rod as an alternative for the barrel, and it's this one. And it's going to be much more stable. So, and it looks actually straighter than the other one, which is original. And like, what am I going to do with the Wicked Witch? Because in the movie she's just dressed all in black and she's green skin. But I saw some pictures online of the musical Wicked, where Elphaba, the coming Wicked Witch, they've given her outfits usually in near black, in very dark purples and blues, with a bit of glitter in it, and so the theme of glitter continues. And I'm going to try to go for something similar to that, I think. That would be more interesting. But still the green skin, of course. And yeah, not much else to say about these. And I've, of course, as you know if you watched last week, I've started even more stuff into the pipeline. Let's take a look at that. The next batch of monsters is basically ready for priming. So we have a couple of fairies here and a nymph. You can tell them apart because the nymph has no wings and the fairies have wings, which I've glued on. We have here the Lamia and the Wendigo. And yeah, like I said, next up is primer and start painting. So check back next week and see how far I've gotten with these. For inventory this week, we're going to go with a really mixed bag. First off, we have one big box with two kinds of things in it. One is I have actually all of the elementals and elemental cultists from the D&D Collector Series that are intended for the Elemental Evil. It's called the Princess of the Apocalypse campaign book. Yeah, I got all of those. I don't know if I'll ever get around to playing that campaign. Probably not, but I have these minis if I need them. The other thing in this box is a bunch of stuff from Dark Sword. On this stuff is the Gale Force 9 D&D Collector Series, by the way. The stuff from Dark Sword is, for example, this is Polyhymnia. It's all the 9 muses as envisioned by one of the artists they work with. And that's also a possible project, painting those 9 at some point. But I'm also going to inventory this box of stuff from Scale 75 minis. I'll explain why soon. This contains, on the one hand, 3 figures that are 32mm scale, that are various steampunk heroines. And the other thing, and this was a Kickstarter, by the way, is so these are stands. These are a series of busts. And as you can say, it says Kickstarter exclusive. I don't know if they remain that way, but it's again, steampunk ladies as busts, and these are the stands for them. And the reason I want to inventory these now is that I think that pretty soon, when the Miniature Painting Mondays start up at the game store, which I hope they do this autumn, as usual. They've been on a summer break. One project I want to get in on pretty early to start bringing to those 8 painting evenings is actually painting these busts, because this is stretching my legs a bit. This is, or rather, stretching my limits, stretching what I'm used to doing. I've never, well, no, that's not true. I've painted a bust of an orc once, but otherwise nothing of this scale. So that, I think, will be challenging. And yeah, but it's going to be another few weeks, probably a month before that gets going. But I wanted to show you that I had these minis so you don't get surprised by them. And yeah, that's the inventory. For the next project to start up, I'm going to take a sort of a bull by the horns and do a project that I've been putting off. These, the Colette crew from Malifaux. This is the first edition metal, as you can see, Colettes, and they are previously owned, they are used, so some of these have been painted, some of these have been started, but not fully painted. This one I think is supposed to be fully painted. But I'm going to strip them, which is something I haven't done in a long time, strip paint off models, and repaint them my way. Now, there are some challenges. First off, I had to consider what did I want to keep these bases, because I understand the idea. The Colette's crew are performers, they're stage performers, so they're given them wooden plank bases. However, these are not theater planking. This is like old, dilapidated, like ruined planking. So I'm not sure what the thinking was there, but taking them off these bases and redoing it completely seems like too much work. So I'm going to keep the bases and just say not worry about it. For the ones that don't have bases, I figured out that these bases that the previous owner used are, in all likelihood, these from MicroArt Studios. So I bought another pack of these because, well, there's 4 minis here that are unbased, and there's 5 bases here, so I'll have one left over. One challenge is going to be that a couple of these have come off their bases, and the reason they have done so is you can see, so they've simply cut the tabs off. They have tabs here, and just glued the feet straight onto the base, and this will not hold very well. They're not pinned, and pinning these very small feet is going to be difficult. I'm going to have to try to do it somehow. I mean, what I do is when I cut the tab off, I don't cut it off completely. I leave a bit as a pin, and I leave, in this case, it would be slightly more than the width of the foot, and I use a fairly thick drill to drill holes in the base and pin them that way. But there are two models here that have fallen off their bases that I'm going to have to do something with, and then just the 3 or 4 that are attached to their bases, and I can hope I can find the arms for this one somewhere. Maybe, well, we'll see. I'm just going to have to hope that these hold even when I strip the paint off, because the thing is, the most likely method to use is isopropyl alcohol, and that might dissolve the super glue as well and make them fall off their bases. Then I'll have to repin them. Maybe that's a blessing in disguise, because some of them, like this one, is very weirdly positioned on the base. And this one has its arm here. This one, I don't know. If this isn't her arms, I don't know. I don't know what this thing is supposed to be. Well, we'll think about it. Worst case scenario, this will be the armless dancing mannequin. Anyway, that was what I had for you this week. Hope you enjoyed it. And by the way, this might take some time. These might not be ready to start painting next week. It might take a bit longer. That's the reason I'm starting them now, when I have a lot of minis on my plate already that I can paint, so I don't need to rush anything into production, and I can take it slow with these. So, as I was saying, let's wrap this episode up. We have come to the end. I very much hope you enjoyed it. Give me a like if you did, or even if you just stayed this long. Share your thoughts as a comment. Share the video with somebody. Subscribe if you haven't done so before. But above all, be back here next week, same day of the week, same channel, same Ducky. Who for now?